What is up, everyone? Thank you for sliding in. This is episode number 7 of the Pixel Playground. I am joined, as always, by my friends Tori Pines and the Frenchman eating his croissant over there. Frenchie, how you boys doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. I'm ready to do this episode number 7. I can't believe we've made it this far. Thank you for all the funding, keeping the show alive.
Hey, right? Yeah, you guys missed it. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties. Bear with us. But yeah, I think each of the three of us keep kind of freezing in and out. This technology, it's getting newfangled and all kind of crazy. Which brings us to the games we're playing. Tori, you're kind of an old school cat. You like the Nintendos. What's happening over in Nintendo world right now? What do you got going on?
I got some new games. Well, this isn't new, but I picked up the Ori collection. Which, Frenchie, was that like one of your favorite games of all time?
Yeah, as far as like 2D platformers go and Metroidvanias, it's up there as one of the best ones.
Yeah, I just started it. I haven't really put too much hours into it. Dead Cells, Castlevania, Definitive Edition. Again, this game, you got to like get through it to get to the end where the Castlevania stuff comes in. Haven't gone through it. Just picked these up today. Video Games Plus. Check them out. Have you seen this? Slave Zero X. It's a Dreamcast game.
Yep.
Made for Switch. Haven't opened it. This is my favorite Ys game ever. Have you guys ever played any Ys games at all?
No? I've played that one. It's good.
So good. The music is so good. Love it. It's the best one out of the series, in my opinion. Haven't opened it. And then I've been putting hours into Catherine Full Body. And that game is super fun. Love the story. Love the puzzles. It's very fascinating. I'm actually wondering your take on it, Matt, because I think you told me you've beaten it multiple times, and it's like a I don't know, a guilt shame simulator. Like a shitty human simulator, with the cheating and the love triangle, whatever you want to call it. It's
overall,
it reminds me of Persona 5 a lot. So
yeah, with a little bit more of an adult twist. And there I go, freezing again. Don't worry, I'll come back in a second. There I am. It's definitely much more of a kind of game where there's no really good characters. They all manipulate each other in different ways. You have like allegedly good Catherine, who's kind of clingy and wants her boyfriend to do all this stuff for her. And then you have like evil Catherine, who's definitely a succubus and a seductress, just coming after him, trying to get him to cheat. And you got the boyfriend who is oscillating at any point, even in between the two. And, it just becomes a game where are there any really hero characters in there? And I think that that's on purpose, and it's supposed to be a commentary on today's civilization and how we socialize with each other. So really cool puzzle designs. I love the puzzle levels. I love it. It is very Persona-esque in that way, with some of the exaggerated like boss characters. So really fun game. I remember the first time I played it, and it's like the first time you're like trying to climb up, and you're in your little heart underwear or whatever, and you're trying to like go through this puzzle and do this stuff before you end up, taking damage and dying. It's good game overall. I love it. I love it.
Did you find it when you go in the bathroom, you put the glasses on and everyone's in their underwear?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't realize what I was doing, and then you talk to the bartender guy, and he's like, "Have you seen my glasses? Like they're somebody took them." And I'm like wearing them, and like he can't see that I have his glasses on, but he's standing there pretty much butt naked and everyone else is naked. I think it's kind of a funny little.
What would you say is the breakdown of like puzzles versus like story?
Oh, honestly, I feel like
the ratio
mostly story. It's more like a almost like a graphical novel to me much. Like the original Catherine, I played that one a little bit and I felt like it was much harder. This is like the Catherine Full Body remix kind of deal. And so they make the game easier for people like myself. And so it's mostly story, which I love story in video games, so I'm down for it.
Now, did the Full Body edition add like new story elements, new DLC?
They added a third gal. Her name's Rin, which is like Catherine. So there's 3 Catherines. So not to spoil
Wow.
it, but I don't want to spoil it too much because when you play it, it's funny because you're like, really? Like they just make it more and more ridiculous as you keep playing the game. And yeah, it's a pretty funny story. Like everything that anything bad you think it could happen will happen. Like his situations are like, oh shit, he's gonna get caught. Like he's cheating, he's gonna get caught, and there's situations where you just start laughing. So it's entertaining. I really enjoy it.
Very nice.
Perfect. I guess that'll bring me up into this. Um, I'm continuing to work through Stellar Blade. I'm kind of losing steam on it. The story is just fucking not great. It's boring. The story is just like whatever. Like the dialogue doesn't make sense to me, right? It's that I don't know. Like something will happen, and Eve's just like, "Oh wow, okay, well, I guess this is what we're doing now." And there's like no probing into anything, and all the characters are like surface level, and it's just like when you find the engineer character early on in the game, and it's just like, wait, no, what? Like she just been chilling there for 2 years, like no big deal. Like
In the pod?
NBD, just like you're an engineer and you couldn't figure out how to get the fuck out of a pod in 2 years. Like I don't know if I want you helping me, man. Like you're not a good engineer if that's the case. It's little stuff. Enemy design still really cool. Love the music, love the combat. Even though I feel like it's getting really easy for me. I don't know. I don't know if it's just because I'm good at From games or what the case may be. But the first Alpha Nativa that I fought was like a breeze. I smoked that fool, like no problem. And I just feel like the more beta abilities that I get and the further I go into the skill. I mean, dude, I was already wrecking shop and then they gave me a gun. And I was like, really? Like that? We're going to do this now? So there's going to be a lot of funny screen captures on this video, guys. I love it. But yeah, so I'm playing that. And of course, Fortnite. I don't know if anybody caught it. I did a 3-hour stream where I was supposed to be diving into the Street Fighter 6 patch. And a couple of my friends are like, dude, we're on Fortnite. We proceeded to win, I think, like 3 or 4 games in a row. So, we were in it. So that's what I'm playing. Nothing too special. Just kind of work my way through. Persona 3 Reload is going to be next on the list. I'm looking forward to getting into that. So as soon as I'm done, either put Stellar Blade down or finish Stellar Blade. I actually don't know if it's a game I'm going to platinum just because I can't see myself wanting to play through it twice, but we'll see.
I think it's worth finishing it though, because I know you said it gets easier, and I kind of felt the same way. I feel like a lot of the abilities kind of stun the enemies or even knock them down, which gives you even more time to attack. But the last boss or two, depending on which ending you pick, is actually pretty challenging. And I think it's worth getting to the end for. So, yeah.
Platinum. I mean, I probably will. It's just like I'm hoping not all of the sections are as long as that, almost like that pseudo tutorial section in Ido 7 or whatever. That took forever, like just to like explore through, and the game was like hand holding me, and I don't know. This story's so bad, I almost want to skip the cutscenes.
No, yeah, totally. Like, I think the combat is where the game shines for sure. Like, I even think the devs themselves said like they didn't want to focus too much on the story. They wanted to just put something there just to have something there. But it's all about.
And it's not like there's nothing. There is lore if you go around and collect the items. If you want to sit there and read and stuff like that, there is some cool stuff. But it's not. I mean, it's pretty puddle deep, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
and like you said, with the character development, it's really not there. There's not much there.
No,
they don't expand on the characters. We don't really know too much of their backstory. But going into the game, I wanted the combat, and that's why I gave it such a high score. And to me, it was like the perfect game because I'm all about gameplay these days. But
could you relate it to like the From Software games, like Dark Souls and all that? Like, is it pretty similar?
It's way easier than those games.
Yeah.
Way easier.
But isn't the story in those games kind of?
They're kind of ambiguous.
The story in those, there's like a ton of lore. You just have to you just got to be paying attention.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you do decide to play it, Tori, just know going in, it's not much of a story focused game.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll play it, to be honest. I don't think it'll grab me.
No.
Yeah.
I
need story.
Gotcha.
If I had to guess, it would be no.
Yeah.
Or it would go immediately into the graveyard. So, Frenchie, that brings you up, man. What are you playing? It's going to kind of segue into our first topic, or, well, our big topic for the day, I should say.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what we're going to focus on mostly on this episode. But before I get to that main game that I'm going to talk about, I did finish Ori and the Will of the Wisps on PC. It was my second time beating it. Absolutely loved it. I forgot how hard some of those bosses were. And I don't know if it's because I just kind of mainlined the game and I didn't really get all the upgrades. So I was kind of putting myself at a disadvantage. But yeah, some of those bosses are pretty challenging. More of a battle of attrition because like they have a lot of health and it's kind of tanky, but definitely fair. The mechanics are fair in those fights. Once I finished that, I moved on and played some more Yakuza. I'm playing Yakuza 8. I'm about halfway through. Story's getting a little spicy now. I'm really engaged at this point. Definitely more freedom up to this. I think the first couple of chapters I kind of complained about how there's just so much exposition and dialogue, and it was putting me to sleep. But I'm at a point where in the game where I'm actually really invested in the story. I want to know what's happening, what's going on next. But the big game, I finished it yesterday, Hellblade 2. And I have a lot to say about this game.
What game was it? Sorry, I think you cut out. I didn't hear you.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we're all having technical difficulties. Yeah, so I finished Hellblade 2 on
gotcha.
Xbox. So that was like their big game this year that wasn't even advertised. But, we're all gamers. We know about it. So I checked it out on Game Pass. Shout out to Verizon again. Give me a free month this month. Yes, I have a lot to say about this game. I don't even know where to start. So I'll get some of the good things out of the way. This game is probably the most beautiful game I've ever seen in my life. It is just stunningly gorgeous. It takes place in Iceland, and there's just these wonderful vistas. It's an Unreal Engine 5 game, I believe, and you can tell like there's just so much geometry in the world. The illumination of the world is just realistic, and I think the photorealism is just on a whole nother level. And I don't think I've ever seen a game this detailed. The closest thing I would say is like Horizon Forbidden West, but that was more like a more colorful, vibrant sci-fi kind of a thing going on. This is aiming for realism and it nails it. The character models are gorgeous. The animation is gorgeous. A lot of it's choreographed, but that's kind of where the positives end for me on this game. The way I'm going to review it, since Senua, the main character, has psychosis, she has these voices in her head. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just ask myself a question and I'm going to answer it. And that I'm going to kind of go by step, like different aspects of the game. So at any point you guys want to chime in, just interrupt me.
Sure.
Okay. So you're probably wondering what the gameplay is like. And it is the most simplistic, basic gameplay I've ever experienced. And I've played a lot of adventure games, Walking Dead and The Quarry, Until Dawn. This has less gameplay than those games. Essentially, what you do is you just walk forward. So like the whole time you're just walking through this.
It's like the first game.
It's even more so. So like there aren't any alternate paths. There's one path that is set in front of you, and you simply hold the left thumbstick forward, and you just keep going forward until like a little cinematic would happen, and there's like no
simulator.
Yeah, it's exactly it's a literal walking simulator, and there's no sense of exploration. You have this wonderfully crafted, realistic, beautiful world, but there's no sense of even exploring because you can't. You just have to follow the golden path. There are some puzzles that are mixed in there. Combat is very rudimentary, super basic. Yeah, so just if you're going to play it, just go in knowing that it's going to be a cinematic experience. There's not much gameplay involved at all. When it comes to the combat, there's very limited things you can do. You have a basic attack, a heavy attack, a dodge, and a block. And that's essentially it. There is like a right trigger where you can kind of slow-mo and just annihilate your enemies, which kind of generates pretty quickly. You have like this mirror that you wear along your waist, and it kind of has a circular gauge. And as you're doing actions, that bar will fill up, and then you can do slow-mo and just obliterate whatever's in front of you. Every single enemy can be taken out the same way from the beginning of the game all the way to the end. They're all human type characters. There aren't any like creatures or monsters you're fighting. Every single encounter is a one-on-one fight. So you'll defeat one enemy. It'll have like a 2 to 3 second like animation where a new enemy is introduced, and you just take them out one by one by one using the same boring tactics. So it's not really engaging in any sense. Even like the beginning of the game, it starts off with like 20 minutes of walking, and even you're just going through these corridors, you're climbing a mountain, which takes forever. You're crawling. It's just, I don't know if you guys play Callisto Protocol, kind of reminded me of that, where there's a lot of sections where you're just kind of, remember like Mark Stern was talking about how this generation, we're not going to have any corridors, and everything will just kind of, there's no need to do that because that's kind of a way to hide loading screens.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's kind of what this game has.
So this game is one giant loading screen. Is what it sounds like.
They do a pretty good job hiding it, but yeah, essentially, the puzzles very simple. There's like these. It was in the first game. There's like these runes that you see, and you have to kind of find them within the world. So there'll be like a particular symbol and you have to find that symbol within the world, and the camera just kind of snaps onto it. There are some other puzzles where you grab like an orb and take it from one pedestal. More difficulties there. You basically grab an orb and set it on another pedestal. Boom, you solve the puzzle. You're a freaking genius. Like, it's just very simplistic in its gameplay. Are there any kind of unlockables or any kind of like skill system or upgrades? Nothing at all. There's
really
nothing. You can't unlock anything. There's just
no skill tree, no equipment,
no items to collect really that are worth anything. There's secrets that you can find.
Okay.
But as far as like gaming systems, like inventory, leveling up, skill trees, unlocking,
do you
combos,
have like heals?
No, you heal on your own, and the combat's so easy that like you might die like maybe 2 or 3 times the whole game.
Huh. So do you think they should just made this into like a movie, like the Final Fantasy, The Spirits Within or something? Like would have benefited from a CGI movie?
I think so, man. Like there isn't much game here.
Yeah,
I gotta applaud them for
it would have benefited for somebody other than Microsoft. It sounds like handling this. And by the way, this is why they didn't advertise this game. They probably saw it and knew.
There's nothing advertised. Like, what are you gonna do? Like show Senua walking, and then
right? That's what I'm saying. Like, how do you advertise a game that's not actually a game?
Yeah.
And there are walking simulators done right. I mean, there's so many. You know what I mean? Like, there's numerous to count. But I don't know, man.
I'm all for cinematic experiences.
Sure.
Like if you look at a game like Death Stranding, that's another walking simulator, right? But there's a whole game there. There's a whole system of like traversal and using the community and ziplining and crafting these things and getting from point A to point B. It's very simplistic in nature, but there's a lot of depth to it. And there's actually a game there. Uncharted, The Last of Us, very cinematic experiences that have, a lot of cutscenes and whatnot, but there's a game there as well that, kind of complements that. This has none of that. I'm honestly surprised that they didn't make like I feel like you could beat this game with one hand. So I'm surprised they didn't make like a one-handed controller in the shape of Phil Spencer's dick with like a couple buttons on it, and you can just play the game that way. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so simple.
Stroking Phil Spencer.
Yeah, just the one-handed controller. Like why not? Like,
oh god,
the Xbox fanboys would have bought that shit. The story, it didn't really pick up for me until the very last act. I'm not really even sure. Like it was very I don't want to use the word simplistic again because there is a lot of depth there. It's just, I don't know. You kind of go through. You start off the game as like a slaver. You voluntarily go on this slave ship, and the waves crash it over, you wash up on shore, and you fight a couple guys, and you're trying to take out these giants or put them at rest. And there's like a final boss at the end, and I don't know, I just kind of felt disjointed. It almost felt like, why did we need this sequel? There isn't much story there. There is a lot of like exposition. There's a lot of, voices in your head constantly talking to you. You're trying to piece things together. There's hallucinations. But from a story perspective, I just don't know that this game needed to even exist.
How many hours did it take?
I finished it in 7.5 hours, which a lot of people say the game is short. I feel like a game, if it's short but it's quality, like that's totally fine with me. 7.5 hours is not bad. It felt like a really long 7.5 hours. So
sure.
I feel like the length was fine.
Yeah. I mean, a game I love, Gone Home, that game's like 2 hours long, but it's awesome.
Yeah. Super quick.
Journey is another game that's like really quick.
Mm-hmm.
You can get through Journey really fast, and that's an amazing game. So
yeah, it's about 2 to 3 hours. But yeah, I remember playing Journey on PS3. I love that game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I was so taken back by the gameplay and how basic it was that I didn't care for anything. As I was going through the combat, I was just like, okay, well, I'm just kind of going through the motions. Like anything cool that would have happened, it just didn't get me excited because I just went through like 20 minutes of walking, and now you put me in this super basic combat scenario, and there's all these like cool choreographed attacks and death animations, but like none of it really did anything for me because I was so checked out. Like the whole time I was checked out of this game, and I was just glad that it was over. I think the first time when I messaged you guys, I'm like, I'm out. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I felt like I owed it to myself to just, give it a chance. I went back in, I played like 2 or 3 more sessions, and it was all the same. So I don't have too much positive to say about this game. It's not the game that's going to bring Xbox back, If I were to give it a numerical value, I would probably give it a 6 out of 10, which is kind of being generous. Yeah, it's
sure.
Kind of if you look at the IGN scale, I have it up in front of me. I want to read it off to you guys.
IGN gave this game an 8.
It is not an 8.
Oh my god,
man. So IGN 10 is a masterpiece, 9 is amazing, 8 is great. The only thing great about this is the fidelity and the visuals and the audio design, animations.
Sure.
But as far as the gameplay stuff, 0. So IGN 7 is good, 6 is okay, 5 is mediocre, 4 is bad, and so on. So if this is like IGN criteria, I'd give it a 4. Like that's how much I liked it.
All right. So let's do a different criteria. Let's have a little more fun with it. And if we review games, I kind of want to do it this way. Let's see if you guys are on board with this. We'll do like almost kind of like star ratings, like you do a hotel, but instead of the star rating, let's name which hotel it would be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like this is like maybe like a DoubleTree, or like what you're making it sound like is it sounds like
Motel 6.
Like an Alabama Motel 6. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
Alabama Motel 6
with the blue sign and the red number 6. That's exactly what this is.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a shame too, because like it took them 7 years to make this game.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody's buying it. If you look at the Steam charts, like there's like the player counts under like 2,000.
Why would you? Why would you buy this?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
When you can just play it on Game Pass, you can get whatever you want out of it and then never play it. I have Game Pass on PC. I'm thinking about downloading it just to see what it looks like on a 4080 Super and a 4K OLED display. But beyond that, I couldn't care less.
Yeah,
it's just everything I've heard is people that are absolutely disappointed with what it is.
Yeah, for a second there, honestly, I thought it was me. I thought like because it's a divisive game. Like people don't like it, but some people loved it. They think it's great. It's a cinematic experience. But I'm like, would I have liked this game 10 years ago or 5 years ago? Or am I changing? Is there something wrong with me? But then I realized like it's not a game. There's just not much game there.
Yeah.
Do you think that part of the reason why some people are championing it is because of its depiction of like someone with mental health issues and like you know, it's sort of a way to be like, oh, this is artistically representative of what like someone with mental health issues would go. So even if it's less than, because it's representative of something that doesn't normally get like the shine, that they give it like a little extra pass. Do you think that plays a role?
I think you could have said that for the first game. The second game doesn't really focus too much on the mental health stuff. Like you'll hear the voices.
You'll just hear the voices, right?
Yeah, and she in this game, she's kind of come to terms with it. She knows how to deal with it. She knows understands how to live with it essentially. So it's not too much of the center of the story of the experience. If you remember the first one, it was about just trying to get your soul, whatever his name was, Dillian, your lover's head. You try to like take it to hell or get his soul freed or some shit like that. And there's a lot of exploring yourself and understanding, where these voices came from. This doesn't really have that. It's which is fine. It's fine. It just is more the journey of Senua and how she deals with I don't know, the giants and things like that, and and the slaves, because the slave ship. I don't want to get too much into the story stuff, but there was a person in the game that was using these slaves for a particular reason. Obviously, that's not good, right? So you have to stop that. You have to make sure that doesn't happen anymore. But yeah, I don't want to get into spoilers on it, but yeah, a little underwhelmed.
That's fair. So, this is one of Xbox's alleged tentpole titles that they were going to come out with, right? They, they didn't advertise it. It did, like you said, it took 7 years to make. Are we looking at, another nail, maybe one of the final nails in the coffin of Xbox here?
Yeah, because I don't know what else is left on the horizon. You look at the other games that are supposed to come out, like Fable. What's the other ones? Avowed, State of Decay, Everwild. Like, there's all these articles of how they're troubled or the development's not going as planned. It's they're dealing with things, and we just don't really have a pipeline of games that they're going to release. Maybe that'll change. I know they're supposed to have a showcase coming up here in June, so maybe we'll hear some stuff there.
Sure. I mean, what could they announce though? That would be, like the next Gears of War game, maybe. Maybe Gears is ready to go, but it just, I've never seen a company since the Xbox One reveal that could turn so much chicken salad into chicken shit.
Yeah.
I mean, you give 343 a ton of chances with Halo, right? They screw Halo up. No one's playing Halo anymore because the multiplayer is just so like, early 2000s. They had opportunity to potentially turn Halo into, like a BR game, like a battle royale game or whatever. You could have even done it, in the vein of like a Call of Duty Warzone. Obviously Fortnite, but you could have done it to a lesser scale, throw some warthogs in there, allow you to play as like the different, factions or whatever, and then, go that route. You could have made it like an extraction shooter. You could have done any of that stuff, and they didn't. You have, you take a studio that comes out with a really good game that you need in your library in Hi-Fi Rush, and you close down Tango Gameworks, and then you allow Ninja Theory to put this shit out. You've completely restructured Bethesda, right? You're gonna have to put Call of Duty on Game Pass, which means you're not going to make any money for the development of Call of Duty.
Don't forget the abomination that was Redfall. I don't know what the fuck that was.
Yeah.
I felt like Starfield was antiquated. It felt like a 2011 game.
Starfield's going to have to go over to PlayStation as well. So, I feel like the more we go on, the closer and closer Microsoft is getting to going the route of Sega, where they stop being a hardware manufacturer and simply make games. The problem is, outside of Forza Horizon and Microsoft Flight Simulator, they don't make good games. That's the issue. They make nothing of value. And, does anybody even care about Gears of War anymore?
I hear about the original 3.
Sure, right.
Give me a collection.
Trilogy. Sure. Does anybody have faith that Microsoft can execute a phenomenal Halo game, or at least 343? No. You know, what are they doing here? You have Forza and you have Microsoft Flight Simulator, and beyond that, you really have a whole lot of nothing. You know, the next Fallout game is going to be coming at some point, but you know, there's again shuffling over at Bethesda. Like, what are you going to do with that? You know?
Yeah, they have this problem of announcing games way too early.
Yep.
Like they'll announce a game and then you won't hear about it for 2-3 years.
Yep.
And they'll have like a little tiny video on it, and then like you'll go away for like another 2 years.
Yep.
I just feel like their biggest thing is they don't have much of an identity. Like, what does it mean to be an Xbox gamer nowadays? It's just Game Pass. Like,
right.
That's all that matters. Game Pass. And Tori, I know Tori I convinced him to try it out on his PC, and he immediately felt like it was value destructive.
Oh yeah, man. I don't want to use that system anymore. Nope. I started playing Sea of Stars on it, and I'm like, oh, this is so good. But I don't want to play it because I want to play it on my Switch, and just, I don't know, the value of that game just goes down in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so.
Well, I mean, it inherently does, because Microsoft's offering them a flat fee to be able to put that game on Game Pass or whatever.
Yeah.
And it almost feels like you're kind of robbing the devs a little bit, who maybe in a moment of need decided to take a little bit of a lump sum payment or whatever. But yeah, I mean, and Sea of Stars is one of the few not Microsoft games that you're going to find on there that's worth a shit, at least at the beginning. Yeah. Most third parties are not putting their games out on Game Pass day one. They're waiting. Yeah. They're waiting to see what the sales are.
Yeah.
And go from there. But if you're on a Microsoft system, you're not buying that game on Xbox. You know, you're going to wait. You're just going to be like, all right, I guess I'm going to wait until it's on Game Pass.
Yeah.
You know,
you're conditioned.
You don't have that problem on PlayStation. PlayStation, they'll buy the game day one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it'll be interesting to see the amount of sales that PlayStation is going to probably retain on Call of Duty, and see what the subscriber count does for Game Pass. If the Game Pass subscribers don't go up significantly, that's it. That's lights out, I think. I think that will be the real telltale, because there's nothing left for Microsoft coming down the pipeline that really, to me, is worth a shit. I mean, they announced Elder Scrolls 6 in what, like 2015 or some shit like that? Right? Yeah, before they even announced Starfield. It was like, 2015, 2016, something like that. And granted, that was pre-Xbox or whatever, but we've seen nothing else on that game. That would be a tentpole game, but you can't convince me that it won't go to PlayStation, or at the very least PC. I mean, it's going to be on PC. So.
Do you think Xbox is going to put Call of Duty on Game Pass?
They already announced it.
Yeah, I think they are.
Oh, it's official?
They already announced it. Yeah, it's going to Game Pass, man. Day one.
Do you think that makes sense for your average Call of Duty player that buys the game outright $70 a year? They could play it all year.
I mean, the player count is so much larger on PlayStation. I don't think it's going to help Xbox.
Yeah.
Now, it'll help them from the fact that they're going to get a cut. So they're going to get 30% or whatever, and then they'll get 30% of any like microtransaction that's on like the PlayStation Store or whatever. So that's really, I mean, if people thought that Call of Duty was a microtransaction ridden mess before, it's going to become even more so now, because they have to recoup that money.
Yeah,
you would hope that the game drove Game Pass subscriptions. You want it to drive the subscriptions up. That's going to, at least show for a little while, oh, look, that there are games that will push Game Pass. Starfield did it a little bit, but not really.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Like, if Call of Duty doesn't boost up and spike the Game Pass subs, like, they're going to have to do something, because they're going to be fucked.
Right. They can't afford to not, they're not going to be able to make that return on investment for buying Activision Blizzard King.
Mm-hmm. Well, you take your golden goose, right? Call of Duty sells millions every year.
Yep.
And there's really no need to change that. Like, just leave it the way it is. But you're putting all your eggs in this basket. No pun intended, but that's kind of what Xbox is doing with Game Pass. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting time to see what happens. Maybe by the end of the year, there'll be a third party, or that'll get the ball rolling if the subs don't go up.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna have to do something crazy, like maybe you think, do they try to put Game Pass on PlayStation?
Yeah, it's gonna be weird.
Is there gonna be an Xbox 2 or whatever the fuck they're gonna call it?
Could you use a Steam Deck Game Pass?
You can if you kind of jailbreak it, yeah. Because the Steam Deck runs on Linux, so you can definitely backdoor it, and you can mod the OS, the operating system, to run Game Pass, but you can't natively run the game, so you actually have to do like cloud gaming.
Oh,
yeah.
Some of the other ones, like the Asus ROG Ally, and some of those, because they run Windows natively, they can run Xbox or Game Pass or whatever on them natively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Game Pass will be on Switch, by the way. They're definitely going to be on Switch.
Really?
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, I think so. 100%.
Switch 2.
And then you can lament the destructive value proposition of it on your own home system.
I know.
I think it'll be almost. This is my bold prediction. I think it'll be day and date on Switch 2 as an app.
Wow.
Yep.
That'll be interesting.
Because you need to recoup that Call of Duty money. So what do? You put Game Pass on Nintendo Switch 2 and you run a Call of Duty game.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's going to be the cloud version.
No. They'll put it natively.
It'll
be a native app. Yeah.
Well, Switch 2 better be strong enough to run that game.
It's going to be like PS4, right? PS4.
Yeah. Which I think is enough. That's all I need.
That's enough.
It's a portable.
It's about the experience.
Yeah.
I mean, they've always been behind. Switch is like a PS3. It's So
I think Tori wins this month, right? He's a Switch guy. Everybody go pick up Paper Mario 1,000 Year Door because Hellblade 2 sucks.
I know. 30 frames per second, baby. 30 FPS.
Dude, that 1,000 Year Door is so good too.
Is
I know.
So good.
I'm waiting for my copy to come in. I bought it, but it hasn't come in.
Yeah. Dude, I love all the Paper Mario games. They're very good.
What about Mario RPG? You guys like that one?
I have
Mario
that.
RPG. Very good.
I have that. Played a little bit.
Very good. Very good.
I got to ask you, Tori, why is it that you dabble and juggle so many little games and you don't like?
I just go by the feel, man. Like it's so funny you mentioned that because I've been playing the Catherine game, and then I've also been playing Neon White, and they're both like, just wrapped around this like morality, like Christianity, like all this stuff around there. And I'm like, interesting. Why am I playing all these games that are themed around this idea? So I don't know. I've just been kind of jump around. So. I don't know why. Yeah, I think because a lot of games nowadays just take so long to beat, and I don't think I ever was a person that would beat a full game. I was like, I was a Counter-Strike player. I played, I played World of Warcraft for like 3 months and quit that. I was like, I'm never playing MMO ever again. I never really beat a game unless it really, really dragged me in. So,
yeah,
depends. It has to really pull me. But it's also lifestyle based too, because I do so much shit outside of work and stuff. So,
yeah. Do you like not want to finish games though? Because it ends.
Yes. You know what?
I'm so
keep
glad
you said that.
Want to keep that option available?
Yeah, I actually noticed that the first time so I beat Final Fantasy VII back in the day, and then I was getting to the end of Final Fantasy VIII, and I just didn't want to beat it, and I don't know why. Like it was just this weird thing of like I maybe because I got to the end, and I did that with Final Fantasy X as well. I remember getting to the last boss and being like, I don't want to play anymore. It was the weirdest thing. I don't know why. Did that ever happen to you guys? No.
I'm kind of feeling that with Yakuza right now.
Yeah.
It's only my second Yakuza game ever. I'm really enjoying it, but I don't know. Like, it's going to take a lot for me to want to play another one of these games just because it's such a time investment, and it almost kind of takes over your life, kind of like Rebirth did.
Yeah.
So like I'm just gonna play it casually, and I'll chip away at it. I'll do some side quests here and there. I'll kind of advance the story. Like right now, I'm 30 hours in, and I'm probably about halfway done. So
I think it's lifestyle too.
Yeah.
I remember I beat Suikoden. I literally played that on my Vita or PSP or something like that, but I would play it going to school every day, and it was like I was on the train, so I'd put in at least 20 minutes, 30 minutes or so every day on the train, and that was it. Do it every single day, and I loved it because eventually I beat it.
Yeah,
it was just part of my day.
I'm actually the opposite of you guys. So what'll happen for me is I'll have a game that I'm really anticipating, and I know that once I play it, it's all I'm going to want to play. So I will purposefully delay starting a game that I'm really excited about because I know once I jump in that I'm going to play it through, and then once that happens, it's over. And that experience is over, and you never get to play a game for the first time over again. You know what I mean? Like once you play it the first time, that's it. Everything that happens, and you can go back to games. I think I've beaten Ocarina of Time maybe 25, 30 times. I've played that game a ton. But I've played and beat Super Mario 3 probably 50 to 100 times. That there are certain games. I platinumed Persona 5 like twice. So I did the original game and I did Persona 5 Royal.
Are you gonna do it again when they come out with the new?
I'm gonna do it with Reload. That's why I haven't started Reload because I know I'm gonna platinum Reload. So
they got an expansion or something coming out for Persona 5. Did you hear about that? Additional stuff.
I doubt it.
Even more stuff.
I don't think so.
Popular in Japan,
I don't believe
man.
you. I don't believe you.
Okay,
I don't believe you at all.
You a link later.
Atlas came out and said that they're going to retire those characters for a little while.
No, they made new characters, and they're thinking of like Atlas taking them and actually making them canon.
In what?
I'll send you the link. I didn't read the full article, but there's like I think maybe it's like fan service or something, and then they're like, wow, this is really good. Let's make this like legit.
Oh no, they ain't taking no fanfic and putting that in a game. No way.
I could be wrong on that. I'll send it to you. Yeah.
Send me that link. No, I but I do the thing where I don't, I'll delay and delay and delay and delay just because I don't want to, I don't want it to be over.
I did that with Skyrim back in 2011.
Oh yeah.
Because everybody knew, my wife knew I really wanted to play that game. My roommate at the time really knew I was into that kind of game. But when I bought it, I didn't start it right away. And everybody was like, what are you doing? You just bought this game. You're not even going to play it. I was like, yeah, it's because, it's a almost 70, 100 hour game. And once I start, like, that's it. Like,
heavy
see you guys. Like, I'm not going to be around.
Yeah. Take some PTO.
I've never played, there's certain games like Chrono Trigger. That's like one of those that I'm like, man, and I started it and I haven't gone, got just far enough where I was like, I think it was right at the part where where Chrono follows the chick through the time portal or whatever, and I'm like, shit, if I play this now, I'm not gonna play anything else. And it was right in the middle of like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth because it was it was after one of our shows, and I was like, all right, let me check it out. And I was like, nope, can't do it. I gotta finish Rebirth first because if I start playing this, I'm gonna put Rebirth aside. I'm gonna make a mess of everything, and I've
been playing it on mobile.
More often than not, what happens to me too is paralysis by analysis. I have too much shit to play in my backlog, and I'm like, I'm not really. I end up not playing anything other than like Fortnite or Street Fighter because those games are comfort food that I can just like pick up and put down. It's like I don't know what the mood is going to strike me, and I don't want to dive into a game that I'm not going to like. So it took me a while to start Stellar Blade, and that's one of those games where I'm just like, I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know if I'm going to finish it all the way just because it's kind of meh. The story.
How dare you say that?
The story. The story is middle-ish. It's mid-ish shit.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So,
hey, Tori, I have one question before we log off here. Is most of your gaming time like at the end of the night, like in bed before you go to...
Yeah, or my day off for sure. Yeah. In San Diego, I'll be honest, just living in San Diego, if it's sunny outside, I can't stay inside. Like I need to do it at nighttime for sure.
You might be a PlayStation Portable candidate. You might love that little system there.
Yeah.
I know you play all your stuff on Switch, but like it's a great thing for just being in bed. You play like an hour and then go to sleep.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I have been playing my Switch in portable mode lately, like just laying in bed, my little gooseneck attached to the side of my, just laying there, just playing.
Oh, nice.
It's nice. Like I have the original, and I'm like, I kind of want to get an OLED just so I can see everything better. This is so relaxing. So I'm actually looking for an OLED to shop for one, get a cheap one.
That OLED is clean. I've seen it at Target because they have all three of them side by side. It looks really good.
I have one. Yeah, I have the one with the white Joy-Cons.
To me for like $150.
No, I do not. I will say this: the PlayStation Portal has much better ergonomics. Them splitting the DualSense in half, much more comfortable to hold. And I got like fat fingers, so sometimes holding the OLED is kind of uncomfortable. So, and then the Steam Deck, even the Steam Deck, it's kind of heavy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, I just feel feel like the PlayStation Portal is the best of both worlds.
Do you think Sony's going to bring out a portable system soon, or
there's rumor, but I don't know.
You don't think so?
I don't know. What would be the use case? The one thing I will say is the more and more they make their architecture like PC, the more I think it would make more sense for Microsoft in a way, because their architecture is pretty straightforward with the way that the PS5, works in terms of its RAM and how close it is to the processor. And, Mark Cerny's always doing this weird shit. I don't know. They would have to make it like a scaled down version. I think it's possible because we've seen with the Asus ROG Ally.
Yeah.
You can get, almost PS5 level in a handheld. So it would have to be a companion. Yeah. You wouldn't be able to develop separately for it. It would have to be like a companion thing.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, it'd have to be a companion. I just think they're looking at Nintendo's success and being like, man,
sure, they want a piece of the pie.
Yeah, we have to do this. Like Nintendo, their success is all the game.
Yeah.
All the games they have. The whole catalog they have is just so vast that's why they're so successful. That's why they grabbed me back. I was not a Nintendo fan at all. I was always Sony, always PlayStation until Switch.
Yeah. I will say I think it's more likely that they try to maybe like somewhat rob the Switch idea with PlayStation 6 than come out with a late cycle handheld. I just think that's, they're going to be gun shy after PSVR 2 failed abysmally. No offense, Fretchy, with sales. The economy is not in a place where they can innovate like that. They're going to do something they know they can make some money off of, like the PS5 Pro. And when they design the next console, then maybe they'll have something that comes out like within a year or two of that as a complement, that can, maybe you play down res. So instead of 4K or whatever, it's 1080p. So,
Yeah, it would have to play like the native app, like a native PS5, PS4 app, because you can't have like developers working on another platform and the dedicated device. They would have to definitely play natively. Otherwise, then that would just spread them too thin, because then they got to worry about VR and PS5 and next gen, and it's just too many things going on. But we'll see what happens.
Well, I think that's going to be about it for us, gentlemen. Sorry that Hellblade sucked, Frenchie. That's a bummer. But at least you didn't pay for it, really.
Yeah, I want you to try it though. Like just maybe like 30 minutes.
I'll give it a shot. I want to look at the visuals. The visual fidelity it interests me. So
yeah, it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah,
it pains me to say it, but it probably looks better than Horizon Forbidden West. Like it's that good.
Yeah, I mean it looks really good. So
yeah,
we'll see going forward.
Yeah,
Torrey Pines, anything to say before we take off?
Well, not really. Just a quick shout out to the documentary, The Contestant. If you guys watch anything lately, it's super funny and really interesting in terms of the of humanity.
Bro, is that about the guy that faked the arcade record for Pac-Man or whatever the fuck?
No. This is one of the first reality TV shows in Japan, and this guy was. He drew the lucky card, and he was basically placed in a Japanese apartment, which, he's in Japan, obviously, stripped naked. And his goal was to shop through magazines and, get lucky and fill out postcards and fill them and mail them in to get prizes. And he had to win like a million yen to leave. And they took everything from him. Like he couldn't eat any food unless he won it from a magazine.
Oh,
whoa.
Yeah,
that's pretty hardcore.
You gotta watch it. It's on YouTube. Someone posted it. It's probably gonna be taken down soon, but it's called The Contestant, and it's out of this world. The whole story is crazy.
I've seen some Japanese game shows, but they can't go on TV.
Yeah, no, it's in the 90s. I think.
Oh my god,
band now.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Oh, you're talking about the good stuff.
The good stuff. Yeah, it's funny that both of you knew exactly what I was talking about.
Can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah, we got 10 minutes to talk about that for a minute.
We could, but no, I think we'll save that for another episode.
Yeah.
All right, Frenchie, anything before we go, man?
I'll be going on a cruise in a couple weeks.
Oh, congrats!
So you guys might have to do like a two-man show, but my plan is to just play Yakuza from now until then. Hopefully, I can beat it. Okay. I think the cruise is like the second week of June, like June 8th, June 9th, something like that. So Yakuza up until then.
Where's the cruise going to?
We're gonna go to Orlando and the ports there. We're gonna go to like Eastern Caribbean.
Nice. Oh, cool!
It's a Royal Caribbean cruise, and I guess they have their own private island called Coco Cay or Coco Key, and they have like water parks on it and like a beach area, nice little quiet area. And then we're gonna go check out like Saint Martin and St. Thomas.
Okay.
Wow.
7-day cruise. Gonna take the kiddos with us.
That's awesome.
It's gonna be a blast. I've never been on a cruise before, and we're gonna go on Wonder of the Seas, which is, as of today, the world's biggest cruise ship. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, that'll be good. You probably won't feel the ocean at all, so that's good.
Probably not. Or my body will. Like it'll just have really tiny motions. It'll fuck up my whole body, but we'll see how that goes.
If you bring your PlayStation,
why does my back hurt?
I know, right?
Can you play your PlayStation from there? Your port.
I should experiment that, huh?
You should try it.
There is Wi-Fi on the cruise ship.
Wi-Fi might be rough, dude. What I would probably do is just bring like a Steam Deck.
Yeah,
I'm gonna bring the Switch.
Yes.
Yeah, I gotta find a game to play on there.
That's a good call.
Yeah, I gotta play native.
I want to play. I need to play the Pixel remasters on the Switch.
Oh, I know, man. I still gotta beat every.
Those aren't games I'm gonna platinum, so I want to do it like old school. You know.
Yes. Start from the first.
I've started Final Fantasy 1 and holy shit, that is
I liked it. I beat it.
Boring.
It is boring, super simplistic, but I like that. Yeah. Like Dragon Quest 1, I like that too because it was.
But I do feel like I owe it to myself to go in order, and I need to slog through the first two shitty ones to get to the first. 2 is so bad. So I got to slog through 1 and 2 to get to 3, and then get to 4, which is awesome, and then 5's okay, and then I can finish with 6, which is like the best. So.
Yeah.
Out of the old school ones, I've only ever played 6.
6 is really good.
4 is really good. 4, if you get a chance, is really, really good.
4 is a really good story.
Very good story. Very good story. Oh,
yeah.
Porum and Palom, dude. Oh my god,
dude.
Anyway, we won't say anything else.
Everything.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, guys, that's gonna do it for us. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. Short show, but in honor of Hellblade 2, short ass game. It was a show.
There you go.
And
this is the Hellblade of podcasts.
And honestly, with our technical issues, it was kind of shitty here too. So we're all in all, we're fit a theme. Hellblade. So thank you everybody for joining us. We love having you here as always. We hope you swing by next time. And until then, goodbye.
Bye.